Was that a cool intro, or was that a cool intro? Anyway, hey guys, this is AJ, and this is my review of 9 Hours, 9 Persons, 9 Doors for the Nintendo DS. 999 is an adventure game developed by Chunsoft, published in Japan by Spike on December 10th, 2009, and then later in North America by Axis on November 16th, 2010. This game has been said to be sort of like a Professor Layton on the Titanic, but since I have neither played Professor Layton nor been on the Titanic, I would have to... I don't know. This this is what is known as a visual novel, I believe, and it is basically... It is a really hard to describe game. It is a psychological survival horror adventure type game with gameplay not unlike those escape the room games on any Flash website like Armor Games or Newgrounds. This is the only the 11th M-rated game released on the Nintendo DS, and I could definitely see why. If you picked this game up and thought it was like 90% of the other M-rated games, a plotless first-person shooter that doesn't care about the story at all, you would be dead wrong. This game took me on one of the biggest psychological thrill rides I have ever been on. That will be later. Okay, so since this is my first review, I will say sort of my review style. I rate games based on gameplay, story, presentation, general value, and anything else I feel that this game has. So, starting out with the most critical element of this game, the story. The first scene has the protagonist, Junpei, waking up and hitting his head on the ceiling, only to realize that he's been trapped in a locked room on a sinking ship by some mysterious person known only as Zero. The only way out of this locked room is to find a way to unlock a large metal door with a 5 painted across it in red paint. Junpei also notices that he has the same number showing on a mysterious bracelet that is clamped onto his wrist. After solving a few simple puzzles, he then discovers that he is not alone on this ship, as 8 other people have been trapped on this condemned ship, including his childhood friend, Akane. The 9 passengers are then told via intercom by their captor that they have been chosen to participate in a game known as the Non-Nuri game. A game where they are not playing for a prize, but for their very lives. The danger starts out right away, as before the second state where the player takes control even happens, one of the 9 people enters another of the doors alone, violating one of Zero's rules, and has a bomb within his gut explode, putting a bloody mess all over the room. This is only the very beginning of an intense, mysterious story that has a variety of events working on around you, including the sinking of the Titanic, telepathic communication, the disappearance of 16 children 9 years prior, and a frozen mummy that would not melt. Without giving up any of the major plot points, this game was definitely one of the most interesting stories I have ever read. It was actually so deep and troubling that I actually had trouble sleeping for the day between when I started and finished this game. It has 5 endings, and you don't see any of them coming at all. So, getting to the 5 different endings just is basically the driving force behind finishing this game. The true ending is definitely one of the most confusing things I've ever seen, but it is the perfect ending in that it ties the game together, and then it gives you just as much closure as you need to be satisfied with the game while still leaving you guessing on what really happened. And that is just an amazing point of this game. Like I said before, the actual gameplay parts of this game are very similar to an Escape the Room game, and those are definitely a personal favorite of mine. I've always liked these ever since I played the first one that I've played on Armor Games. So the gameplay was really fun for me, and I had no problems with navigating the rooms, and the puzzles were all well thought out and challenging, at least the first time you played them. like I said before, there are 5 endings, and only the true ending has rooms that aren't accessible in the other ones. So you can pretty much know how to get through a room by just writing it down and then redoing it, and I don't know. There are also not very many puzzles. There are only about 15, so there is not a whole lot of gameplay in this, but all of them were fun, and apart from one time that I got really mad at the game, it was an acceptable difficulty level. They were not easy, but they were not like hitting your head against the wall difficult. Except for that one time where the one way to advance eluded me for about a half hour, and it was horrible. But no, I take back what I said. It's not horrible. It was just confusing and difficult, and it has great gameplay, but it doesn't have quite enough of it. This game looks really cool. All the animations for the characters are decent. They aren't anything too impressive. But the backgrounds to this game, and for the puzzles they show during the story, and all the little stills of things, they're very cool to look at and very well done. The music is also very well done, and this game just does a great way of establishing the atmosphere it wants you to do with the visuals and the sounds. What? At $35, I have a somewhat difficult time recommending this. This game only took me at max 12 hours to complete all 5 endings. But this was 12 hours practically straight, as I couldn't put this game down. And I saw on GameStop that used copies of this are already down to about $25. And yeah, if you can find one for that, it's definitely worth it. But even as is, you will definitely get $35 worth of a psychological thrill from this game. But you might be feeling like you got a little bit gypped due to lack of gameplay. As I was playing this game, I thought it was going to be in definitely the top contention for the best game I've ever played. I thought I had the story down, the puzzles were fun, and then the first ending. Bam! Completely out of left field, and I got completely blindsided. So, I played through it again, hoping that there would be an ending that made this worthwhile. Another curveball. This sent me into an extreme psychological numbness. I just had to sit and think, what just happened? But the thing is, I'm not sure if that's a bad thing or a good thing. I played it again and again, hoping that there would be a good ending, and then there was another ending that just cut the story short. I really don't like when something cuts the story short, even if it's the story itself. But the final ending was well worth it, and looking back, I realized I definitely liked that kind of pseudo-psycho coma it put me into. And this was just a very enjoyable game. This was the first M-rated game I ever bought, and I was definitely glad that I did. I have a difficult time to say just go out, get this, it's the best game ever, because it's definitely not for the average gamer. If you just want to pick up a gun and shoot things, do not buy this, because you do not pick up a gun and shoot things. It is not an action game in the slightest. And for people who like all of their stories to have a nice, happy, cheerful ending, again, shop elsewhere. This is definitely a dark and thought-provoking story. So if you want happiness and sunshine, just go to GameStop, look at this game, and then turn around. Buy Kirby's Epic Yarn or something. But if you want a game that'll make you think on levels you probably have not gone to before, or at least in a long time, pick it up and you won't be disappointed. But don't just stop when you get to an ending until you get to the last ending, or else you will just be left with so many unanswered questions. And if you're anything like me, unanswered questions just tear you apart. So, as a final score, I give this a 9 out of 10 and a definite recommendation to anyone looking for a cool, different experience. that's just not your average game. And yeah, this game has really caused me to think, maybe I'm done with strategy games altogether. I'll just stick with these psychological games. Nah, more Pokemon for me. But I will definitely be checking out the psychological type games a lot more because of this game. So, until next time, bye guys.